All right, welcome to the Rise Up podcast, and I am your host, Jonah Mitchell. And on this show, I help chronic dieters rise up to their potential and take back control of their health so they can live life by being happy and healthy, not either or. And I do this by trying to simplify everything that goes into the weight loss process so that the results that you start to achieve become much more impactful and last much, much longer than you're used to. No more quick fixes, no more super restrictive dieting tactics for temporary results that eventually go away, right? And happy holidays. We're Christmas is 2 days away. If you celebrate Christmas or if you celebrate any other holiday, happy holidays. Hope you're doing well in this crazy time of year. And this is probably the toughest time of year for many people when it comes to their health and their weight loss journey. I just thought of something that I'm going to have to add later, but I'm gonna write a little note for it. But yeah, I'm just writing notes because today's episode is going to be about myths. And you know what? This was going to be 7 myths, but I am going to make it 8 right now. So it's going to be 8 myths that need to die in 2022. I'll just make sure I put that down. But yeah, there's a lot, and really, I'm going to save this last one for this time of year. So if you're, if you're having a hard time with your health journey and struggling with gaining weight and all the choices that will be made, I'll dive into that a little bit for the eighth myth at the end of this. But as always, I think I've forgot to mention this a couple episodes. If you learn something new, if you find something valuable, if I help change your perspective on something, I would greatly appreciate you share this episode with at least one person. If you share it on social media, tag me. I would love to connect with you on there. And it helps me help more people. That's really the main goal I have with this. As always, if you saw if you listened to my last week's episode, I've been able to go and join another coaching company, and they've given me free reign to continue to do everything that I do to help people be the best version of themselves. So overall, hope that made sense. And without further ado, let's get into the myths. Let's understand what needs to die in 2022. 8 myths that need to die in 2022. And I think I haven't talked about this in a while because I've been talking a lot about mindset stuff. But the first one is very, very important and still something I have to have a conversation with on a daily basis. Is this myth that needs to die is carbs make you fat. All right. Let me tell you what's happened, why carbs have been so demonized. All right. If you look, most people don't track their food, right? And when they do track their food, they realize how carb heavy a lot of the food that they're eating is, right? And carbs have been so scary and demonized because carbs are very easy to overconsume, right? They're very easy to eat a lot of these carbs, and they're not very satisfying, they're not very satiating. So you're not getting a signal sent to your brain that you're actually full or satisfied. You're constantly being told, or you're constantly being you're eating, but nothing is really saying, hey, you're satisfied, you're full, right? Until it gets to the point of like you don't feel good, you feel bloated and uncomfortable, right? And that's when you feel full and like, oh, okay, I'm full, I'm done. But you probably were way past that threshold point, but it took so long to tell your brain that because those foods lack a lot of fiber, they lack a lot of protein to help you feel more satisfied sooner, right? And overconsumption of carbs is much easier than overconsumption of protein or dietary fat, right? Well, sometimes there's some very easily over, like peanut butter. Peanut butter is a dietary fat. That's another myth I don't want to throw in here. Peanut butter is not a protein. It is a fat. But anyway, carbs, they do not just automatically transition and make you just gain weight, right? It's very easy to assume that because many people go on low carb diets and they see relatively quick results through that process, right? And for every 1 gram of carbs that you eat, you roughly store 3 to 4 grams of water. So our carb intake is directly tied into our water intake, carbohydrate, right? So when you drastically reduce carbs, you drastically reduce water weight really quickly, right? So people going low carb, right? They see like 10, 20 pounds lost in a week or in a month. They're like, holy crap, this is the secret, right? So they go super low carb, but then they don't actually know how to sustain that, right? They don't know how to live with a low processed food diet. So then they inevitably go back to what they used to do, increasing their carb intake, and the weight comes back on pretty quickly, right? So let's understand this. Carbs are not the issue. Our lack of understanding our lack of proper ratios to protein, carbohydrate, and fat is the issue, right? If we don't understand where to improve our overall nutrition, right? If we just blame one thing and hopefully that one thing will solve all our problems, the second that one thing becomes too restrictive or too unsustainable, we go right back to where we started, right? So there's a reason that happens for everything. And first, if carbs, you feel like carbs are the issue, it's like, actually look at your meals. Is there much color in your meals? Is there protein in all of your meals? If not, it's not the carb issue, it's the lack of understanding, it's the lack of awareness, right? The only way to lose weight and to lose fat is to be in a calorie deficit, right? Yes, losing weight can equal losing water weight, but it's not significant, right? You don't see any body composition changes when you lose water weight, right? You're lighter on the scale, but you look damn near the same, right? So let's leave this. Let's really focus on letting this one die. Carbs are not the issue, right? The issue is that they're easily overconsumed, right? And by simply avoiding them isn't going to be the problem solver, right? It's understanding, what does your food look like? How can you make improvements? How can you complete your meals? And when I say complete meals, I mean improving the quality by adding color, adding protein into your meals on a consistent basis so that you feel more satisfied, right? And here's another little hack that's going to help you. When you're adding when you're adding protein and color into your meals that include those carbs, right? Eat the protein first, then eat the colors next, and then follow it by eating the carbs, right? You'll find that you'll probably feel a lot satisfied a lot quicker, and make it harder to completely eat the whole meal, naturally putting yourself in a place where you're eating less calories and allowing your body to actually go into that deficit without feeling miserable. Like you feel satisfied, right? Dieting is not supposed to be miserable, all right? So stop perpetuating the idea that carbs make you fat. All right, that's not the case. It's not the problem. You can eat literally anything that you want and still lose weight. All right, so carbs make you fat, or carbs do not make you fat. Excuse me. Don't cut that out. All right, number two. I haven't talked a lot about metabolism. But I keep seeing it brought up a lot lately. And essentially metabolism is just your body's ability to burn calories. All right. And the myth is that your metabolism slows down as you age. And there's certain factors that can affect your metabolism, right? But there's certain bigger factors that most people don't take into account because they just blame it on their age. You get old, your metabolism slows down, and you get fat, right? And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Your body does what you're telling it to do. And most of the time, your metabolism isn't slowing down, isn't broken. You stop using it, right? When we're kids, when we're younger, we're much more active. We're moving a lot more than we ever realized, right? And so, I used to be able to eat whatever I want and never gain weight, right? Well, you were probably a little bit more active than you realized back then. You only remember the scale weight. You don't remember everything that went into it. And as we got older, right? Well, we stopped being as active because we took on more responsibilities. We have a lot more stress on our day to day, right? So we don't necessarily so our body isn't as optimized, isn't as ready to or is it as able to go through and burn calories efficiently as it used to be, not because you're older, but because your activity and your stress has drastically changed, right? And really a lot of that, it comes down to like just looking yourself in the mirror and saying, well, how have I changed from being from when I was younger to now? Right? Was I walking everywhere when I was younger? Was I biking everywhere? Have injuries impacted my lifestyle? Right? Where's my stress? Did I have kids? Did I get more stressful jobs? Did I take on more responsibility at work? Like all these things, they affect us, right? And when we have a higher stress, right, and we're less active, our body hates it. and it doesn't always understand that it's that the problems aren't like life threatening. And a lot of the tendencies our body, or a lot of the ways our body wants to soothe stress is through food, it's through convenience, it's through the path of least resistance, right? And a lot of these tendencies, these habits, these behaviors that we create, because as we're getting older, we have more stress on our day to day, don't always look like exercise and socializing in a positive way. They could look through ways to add calories into our day to day, extra food, extra drink calories into our day to day to help solve the issue of the stress that we have on our bodies and on our minds. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm struggling talking so much. I guess I always say that. But I try talking, my brain never, or my mouth never keeps up with my brain. That's always the problem with me. So anyway, your metabolism isn't necessarily slowing down because just solely because you're getting older, right? There's other things that affect your metabolism other than just your activity, right? It's your lean muscle tissue. There's something that I love helping people understand is working out less and burning more calories. And this is by prioritizing strength training, telling your body that lean muscle tissue is very, very important. Most people, when they diet, all that matters is increasing cardio and cutting calories, right? When we do that, we tell our body that muscle isn't important. Right. And muscle is an expensive tissue. It's an active living organism, right? It burns calories just sitting on your frame. So when you lose muscle mass from extreme dieting, you naturally lower your metabolic functions, your metabolic rate, your resting metabolic rate, or your basal metabolic rate, right? You burn less calories at rest because you have less muscle, right? So this could also feel like why your metabolism has slowed down, because you lost muscle mass over the time that you stopped using your body as much as you used to. Right. So getting back in the habit of training your body to be more effective at rest, at burning calories is really how your metabolism is how we improve your metabolic function, your metabolism functions. Right. Where just think about it. If you haven't been focusing on telling your body that muscle is important, right? Contracting and using muscles. It doesn't have to be like bodybuilding style stuff, but just like think about getting in and out of your car. That's a resistance training style tactic. That's squatting, right? That's sitting up, sitting down on a couch, right? That's lifting anything up over your head to put it in the shelves. Like those are resistance, right? If we don't train our body to use those muscles effectively or enough, our body's just going to say, hey, I guess you don't need this. So we're going to get rid of muscle tissue, right? And this is again going to slow down your metabolism. So this is understanding that you're not doomed to just grow old and just gain weight, right? It's understanding what your body's been listening to what you've been telling it to do, whether you're aware of it or not, right? And because a lot of our beliefs have gone around this, and I've worked with many people who've said oh, as you get old, you get fat, and then they go through that, and then they struggle with their weight their entire life, and it's very difficult to get out of that thought process. I want to give you the understanding, hey, your metabolism, your body has been doing everything that you've been saying, right? Everything that you've been telling it to do. And this is why we want to understand and take control. Like, what do I want to tell it to do now? Right? We want to be conscious of what we're telling it so that we can then start changing the behaviors that are going to help us see the results that are going to make us much, much more sustainable, make us feel like ourselves and be much more sustainable for the long run, right? So your metabolism doesn't slow down. It's doing everything that you're telling it to do. And so I just want to clear this up. There are age drops with metabolic functions, but the lifestyle choices that you make can really reduce the amount that natural age drop is. And even if you look at the studies, the drop in metabolic functions and metabolism function is negligible. It's not like this massive, like you're up here, and then you just nosedive to the bottom of being able to burn calories, right? We want to train your body, help you feel better, help you improve your energy, so that you no longer feel like you're stuck in this box of my metabolism is too slow, right? We get you moving in a way that you enjoy, remind your body what it's like to be able to move and function at a much more consistent rate, and your metabolism naturally increases. And this also goes with naturally or slowly increasing your calories, getting your body used to operating at higher calories. Because there's a certain amount of calories that's maintenance, where you just eat enough and you don't gain or lose any weight, and your body really likes that because it's not in this restrictive state so long. So when we're in like chronic low calorie lifestyle where like we feel super run down, lethargic, we start blinking less frequently. Our other metabolic functions start to down regulate, like hormone production starts to down regulate because we don't have enough building blocks, right? So we give our body a break every now and again and go to maintenance and increase activity in a way that is possible for us, that helps us, right? We get our body used to operating at higher calories. We start feeling better. Those basic functions where brain function, heart pumping, digestion, blinking, they start to regulate again, and we stop feeling as lethargic. So I feel like I could talk about metabolism a lot, but your metabolism isn't slowing down. All right, let's leave that in 2022. So this is my next one. This kind of is a good one to lead off to. something that many people think when they lose weight is, or something that I hear a lot when people are going on their weight loss journeys, they say they can't wait to go back to eating normally, right? They think their diet is supposed to be this, I'm on till I get to my goal, then I'm off, right? And that mentality is okay to an extent, right? Okay, in the sense that you have to make a change, right? But not realizing that your current normal is what got you into this situation is very difficult to really understand and accept, right? Normal is most people's normals is that lack of understanding, that lack of awareness, right? So going back to normal shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be to understand what changes are going to help you create a new normal that's going to make your results much more permanent, right? There's no on and off switch. This becomes a lifestyle, and I really don't like when like keto zealots or vegan or intermittent fasting zealots say it's a lifestyle, right? If your lifestyle requires you to accept feeling like crap, like I don't want anything. I don't want to say your lifestyle, but I don't want anything to do with it. Like the keto flu, I don't get it. I do not get, nor do I buy that. Once you get through the keto flu, you'll be fine. Like, yeah, your body will adapt to anything, but that does not mean that it's a good thing for you, right? And again, I'm not going to bash keto. Like everything has its place, but right now you need to understand that your normal is what got you to the place that you're unhappy with. And you're looking to create a new normal that makes you feel better, that works for your lifestyle, that you want to keep showing up for, so that you can sustain the results for good, right? A normal that puts you in a place of dissatisfaction is not what we want to get back to. Creating the new normal, like I said, that works best for you and your lifestyle is the most important thing, right? You just lack the awareness in the beginning. So this year coming up, we're not focusing on doing something for so long, for a certain period of time, to get back to what we used to be doing. We're going to look at focusing on, hey, what do I need to do to feel like my best? And when I know that, how can I integrate that so that I continue to do those things without feeling like I'm restricting myself, without feeling like I'm starving myself, without feeling like I have to do this more? What do I have to do, or what do I have to do to feel like myself? And I want to keep doing those things, right? Drinking water, getting outside in the sunlight, especially this time of year. This is a hard time of year to be getting out. It's 9 degrees right now in Colorado. It was -2 or negative, it was -2 when I flew in from Florida yesterday, right? I was not going outside. And I have a husky. She loves the snow. I'm not getting outside right now. But anyway, I'm going down a different rabbit hole. So changing your normal is very, very important to remember. Okay. My next myth. And this is going to refer to some of the fitness trackers out there that help you understand or help give you a goal of what a fat burning zone is. Excuse me. Nose trying to run. It's run away from my face. So the fat burning zone is kind of a myth because it perpetuates this idea that there's a specific perfect heart rate that's going to specifically target fat loss. All right. Like I said in the beginning, the only way we lose weight, the only way we lose fat is to be in a calorie deficit. Right. So these fitness trackers that say perfect heart rate, fat burning zone, right? It's not entirely true. The truth is that getting to a certain heart rate consistently has many benefits for overall heart health and overall health in general, right? But it does not mean you have to always find a specific heart or fat burning zone heart rate, right? If you're focusing on that, it can be very difficult, very discouraging. If you're not used to getting your heart rate up to, I think it's like 100, 120 BPM or something like that. And that's not hard to do with activity. I mean, most walks get you into the mid 90s, upper 100 or lower 100s. But there is no such thing as a fat burning zone, because the only way we burn fat is to be in a calorie deficit, right? And the truth is behind that, a calorie deficit that's higher in protein, that is consistent, that is sustainable, right? Sustainable is like 200 to 400 calories below your maintenance. This does not mean automatically 1,200 calories, right? Understanding how many calories you potentially burn is very, very important, right? Instead of focusing on the calories burned and the heart rate zone, focus on the calorie intake, right? The best way to determine your overall calorie output is to find and be as accurate as possible with your calorie input, right? Not focusing on heart rate zones and fat burning zones. Is how much am I eating and how is my body reacting to it, right? If we can look at a lot of this stuff instead of how much do I need to do to lose weight, and instead of and instead replace it with inquisitive thought process. Like, how much am I actually eating? How often does my body weight change? What are the trends that my body does? Right. Then we can start determining like where the actual problems are, instead of like looking down and freaking out about all the fluctuations that are going on and feeling miserable that we're not training hard enough. We didn't burn off enough calories in our last workout. We have to always be burning 800 plus calories in an exercise. We have to be targeting the fat loss zone. Like, no, no, pick a form of exercise that you enjoy, right? If you're one of my clients, you want to be stronger, you want to feel better, right? We're going to prioritize strength training. We're going to tell your body that muscle is important, right? That doesn't mean that you can't do anything else. Like I have a client who swims. She loves swimming. She swims almost every damn day. Probably I can't remember how often she swims, but she swims a lot. She's a damn fish, and I can't swim, right? But we still strength train her, but she does those things because she enjoys them, right? And that's the thing. Enjoy them, right? Enjoy what you do so that you want to keep showing up for it. Don't keep focusing on the calories burned and what's the most effective form of weight loss, or the heart rate or the fat loss zone or whatever, any of these things that the trackers or quick magazines or quick articles can convince you into focusing on. Just focus on, what do I enjoy doing? And then consistently show up for that. All right. What's the next one? This goes to you know what? We're talking about exercise. Let's go to the next myth, which is you have to do hours of cardio to lose weight. You have to lose fat, right? Cardio equals more fat loss. Cardio burns fat. Yes, cardio does burn fat, but not fat in the way that you think it does. Dietary fat is a fuel source, right? When we're doing cardio, you're training a system that doesn't always elicit the results that you're anticipating, right? Where dietary fat, triglyceride storage becomes a fuel source when we're doing cardio, doesn't mean that you're going to be targeting fat loss by doing extra cardio, right? The fat contents in your fat cells do not always transition to fuel for exercise. They still go to the muscles that you're using, right? And here's another thing when it comes to cardio training. Cardio actually burns through a lot of carbohydrates, right? And if there are no enough carbohydrates in your system, it's going to start targeting muscle for fuel, not body fat specifically, right? Where the only way to enter and exit are the contents of our fat cells is to be the calorie deficit. Cardio can help increase your calorie burn so that you can elicit a deficit. But if that's your focus of exercise, right, you're telling your body to do something completely opposite, right? You're tearing down muscle and probably increasing the likelihood of storing more body fat or increasing your body's fat stores, right? This does not always translate to more fat tissue, more body fat tissue, but you're training the system that utilizes carbohydrates and fatty acid triglycerides as fuel, right? There's no muscle storage signal being sent to that, right? So we don't want to always be doing hours of cardio. I hate cardio. I hurt my foot. I've been hurt for almost 4 months because I decided to run decided to do a 3-mile run, and I hate cardio, right? I've learned a lesson that I'm never running again. I'm only playing flag football, and that's like 5 to 10 seconds of sprints, and then I'm done, right? And I don't want to do cardio for my primary focus of exercise because I hate it. You will not stay doing something. You will not stay consistent doing something if you hate doing it, right? You could do it out of hatred. You can do it out of punishment, but does that stuff really last? No. So another myth, you do not have to be in the gym doing cardio for hours. We want to focus on doing finding the least effective dose or the most effective minimum amount of dosage to get to your results. So in layman's terms, how little can I exercise to have the most effect, right? I'm a lazy person. I like doing as little as possible to see the most amount of results, right? And that's the same thing I want for my clients, not to be inherently lazy, right? But to help them realize that they don't have to be totally on all the time, and that they can do a little and that they can learn how a little can go a long way and be much more effective than like expending hours and hours and hours in the gym with cardio and all that difficult stuff that just doesn't really make us feel any better. It makes it a lot harder to stick with. All right. So next myth, eating before bed. Eating before bed being stored as fat. So I think I'm hitting this one. I'm beating this one like a dead horse, beating a dead horse here, whatever the expression is. Just because you eat before bed does not mean you're automatically storing body fat. All right. Yeah. I think the logic is that like, oh, you're not burning anything. So the signal you're sending is that, oh, well, this energy has to be stored somewhere. So it's going to be stored as fat. So here's the truth about eating before bed. Going back to it, the only way to lose weight is be in a calorie deficit. All right. So if you're consistently in a deficit and you're doing everything consistently, you're feeling good overall, you're not starving yourself, none of that crap, doesn't fucking matter when you eat your calories. All right. Eating before bed will negatively affect is two things: your digestion and your circadian rhythm. So it'll negatively affect your digestion because there's certain things our body does awake better than it does when it's sleeping, right? One of those things is digesting food. So this ties into your circadian rhythm, right? But digesting food when we're awake is an awake process. We're up, we're moving around. Our digestive system is firing on all cylinders, right? It is absorbing and processing and getting the nutrients through your body and removing the waste, right? If we're asleep when trying to do this, it sends a counterproductive signal to your brain that say, hey, you should be awake to do this right now. You should be up, right? This signal is opposite because sleeping is our most effective form of recovery, right? This is the vast majority of the reason why we sleep is because we have to recover from the day-to-day stresses that we've been struggling with, right? And when we're asleep, and when we're trying to process and digest food, while we're trying to sleep, it's taking away the resources that actually help our body recover and reduce stress, right? So this is why it can interrupt your sleep cycle. You're like going through light sleep, REM sleep, and deep sleep, right? So those are the negative aspects of eating late. It could affect it could affect your digestion by not allowing you to completely absorb all the food that you're eating, and then interrupt your sleep pattern, so you're waking up a little bit more throughout the night, which could lead to more bloating, more inflammation, more water retention. So it could feel like you're gaining weight because you ate super late, but in reality, it's not body fat, right? Water retention and inflammation and dysfunction going on. And these are all stressors, all right? And when we're stressed, our body doesn't care about our weight loss goals. It cares about trying to feel better, right? So, it's stress. It's holding on to a little bit more water, right? So if you're worried about it, right? If you really want to optimize your digestion and your sleep, just try not to eat anything a couple hours before bed, at least an hour and a half. Right? Not to give you a rule, but to help you understand, okay, if I want to not only lose weight and feel healthy, but give my body the building blocks and the time it needs to actually recover and improve for the next day, that's something that you can start practicing into your day-to-day, right? It's something I try to do, but it's not for everybody, and it doesn't have to be an absolute rule. All right. This is something that I've talked to a lot to people about. And again, it's not the fact that you're eating late is making it harder for your weight loss goals. But there's a lot of people who do this and they stop eating as much, and hey, guess what? They stop losing weight, So yeah, I hope that made sense. All right. Second to last myth. All right. I find myself talking a lot about this one, especially going around and talking to people during the holidays. Here's the myth: soreness equals a good workout, right? Wrong. Here's the thing: soreness is an indicator of how effective or ineffective a workout was, right? There's a level of soreness that is good, right? You should feel like you engage your muscles, engage your body in a way that challenged you, right? However, if you're having a hard time rolling out of bed and walking and just picking things up, that's a good sign from your body, that amount of soreness, that you went too hard, right? Soreness is just an indicator of like how hard you went, right? And going balls to the wall every time for your workouts is not the most effective way to see better results, right? Light soreness, you should feel better after your workout, not exhausted and tired and super drained. I have a client who's going through his phase right now. And we've been building up his strength and his endurance, and this specific phase of hypertrophy where the stress is supposed to be super high because we've built him up to that, right? it's not supposed to last. It's only supposed to be a small time period, and then we're going to go back to recovery and helping his body, right? There's supposed to be times to challenge yourself, but again, it's not supposed to be the normal. It's not supposed to be this always super elevated, chase the soreness, chase the pain to be effective with our exercise, with our workouts. It's really about understanding like the minimum effective dosage to elicit the change that we want to see without killing ourselves. we don't need to be super sore, right? Being somewhat sore is totally fine, right? And then if you are sore going to the gym next day, if you're training a different muscle group, you're totally fine, right? But sometimes you may need a rest day, and that's fine. Resting is super important. Resting is super is if not more important to the no. Okay, what's the actual equation here? The stress we put on our body is important, but the recovery that we give our body is as important, if not more important, because if we don't give our body the time to recover, it's not going to have enough time to actually change the way we like it to, right? Sleeping is the best way. Eating enough protein is the best way. Maybe taking a rest day and focusing on just mobility and low impact movement, like walking. Those times give your body the actual ability to take all the resources, take the signals you're sending in, and start to build up to be better, right? No more chasing soreness, right? We don't need to be limping out of the gym or having a hard time pushing ourselves out of bed because of our workouts, right? Chasing soreness is a losing battle, right? And if you're always super sore at the end of the day, there's gonna be days where like the stress is super high, and the last thing you want to do is put more stress on by being super sore after a workout, right? So, all right, last myth. And this one, I as I was starting this one, as I was starting this podcast, it came to my mind. But I need you to understand that there's roughly about 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. All right, roughly 3,500 calories. And whenever I tell clients that, they get super terrified of that number, right? That sounds like a lot of calories, especially when we all think and we're trained to oh gosh, I'm going to throw another one, a little sub myth in here. But most people think that they have to eat about 1,200 calories to lose weight, right? That's also a myth, but not going to be here. We're not going to cover that right now. So when I say about 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat, it's like, holy crap, that's a lot of food. It's like, yeah. When's the last time you've ever really ate 3,500 calories in a day? And some people they're like, oh, never. I would never do that. Some people can. Don't get me wrong. Like the weekends, alcohol gets involved, lots of liquid calories. It's probably easy to get above 3,500 calories, or 3,000 or 3,500 calories, right? But if we're in the holidays and we gain 2 to 7 pounds overnight, right? That's not all body fat. You did not just gain 7 pounds of body fat. What's 7 times 3,500? I don't even know. Too much, right? It's well over 21,000, I believe. I don't have my phone in here. But let's say 3 times 7, right? So yeah, that'd be 21, right? No, 7 times 3, right? 7, Jesus Christ. Anyway, so, 3,500 calories, right? Times 7 pounds. That's it. There's the math. Math is hard. If you're watching the video version, that was a whole mental jump through I had to get through, right? But 7 pounds, 3,500 calories, right? That's a lot of calories. It's almost impossible to eat that much food, right? I probably guarantee you it's pretty impossible to eat that much food. So the whole point is that you didn't gain just 7 pounds of body fat. That jump, that rapid spike in weight, especially during the holidays when there's a lot of food out of your control, probably a little bit more alcohol, lots of travel, higher stress, that's probably weight or probably water retention, right? Because when we're stressed out, our body is going to be more conservative. It's going to want to focus more on survival, right? Because there's only 2 signals that our body really understands: fight or flight and rest and digest. And all stresses, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's a small, very, very basic stress. If it's a stress, if it puts our body in this fight or flight state, body's number one goal is survival. So it gets conservative and focuses on surviving and getting through that stress and reducing that stress, right? The best way it can. So it doesn't always care about weight loss, because weight loss is a stress on the body. So you didn't gain 7 pounds, like 2 to 7 pounds overnight, because you physically didn't eat enough calories to gain that. So when we have these drastic, these crazy high jumps in weight, they're probably more water retention. So we get to look at and step back and realize what's actually happening here. What did I eat yesterday? How much alcohol was involved? Did I eat out a lot, right? Because when we eat out, there's probably more fat, there's more sodium, which leads to higher water retention. And then we can cycle back and be, okay, I see the reasons why the scale went up, but I know that I probably didn't eat, what was it, 3,500 calories for 1 pound, right? 7 pounds, right? In one night, right? Probably didn't eat that much calories. So we can talk ourselves off the ledge and say, all right, all I need to do is go back to my normal routine, right? And focus on just getting back to the basics and getting out of our head and focusing on, holy crap, I ate so much and I gained all this weight, blah, 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 gets us in this negative spiral. And then, New Year's Eve comes like, oh, well, I'll screw this whole entire thing. I'm just going to focus on New Year's Eve and start my journey then. That's not the case we want to play here. All right. Stop. I want you to leave this in 2022 stop playing this mental game that makes us feel frustrated and gets us easily down on ourselves when we just don't understand what's actually happening, right? And I hope this episode was helpful in allowing you to start seeing that process and to start connecting the dots of what the actual transformation process looks like. All right. So if you're still listening to this, I appreciate it very, very much. And, I have the honor of being able to be part of a transformation challenge that launches this new year. And it's with my new coaching company, and it's the New Year's Transformation Challenge. There's links in my bios on all social media. So if you're not following me on there, you should go follow me at Jonah Mitchell Fit _nutrition on Instagram, and just Jonah Mitchell Fitness on TikTok. The links are in there. And if you want to see the actual group where the challenge will be held, it's in the Transformation Project Facebook group. So I think it's Transformation Secrets. I'll have links to all those in the show notes so that you'll be able to be able to see what's going on. And then also the link to sign up for the challenge is also going to be linked in the show notes. If you just want to if you just want to sign up right there from looking at it. But really the challenge is to help you build awareness and understanding and give you all the tools you need to start seeing, to really transform your life, right? It's really going to be super exciting. I'm super ready. I'm super excited for it to get started. And it's something that I think a lot of people are going to take a lot away from. It's something that you struggle with, gaining momentum and really sticking with a journey for the long haul. This challenge is probably going to help a lot with that. But you don't have to. This is only if you're looking for something like that. Starts on January 14th, so you got a lot of time to think about it. I know it's been a bit tough around the holidays. So anyway, enough of the shameless plug. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a great Christmas, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a happy holiday. And then next week is New Year's Eve. That's going to be the next episode, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I can't remember. We'll talk about that then. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.